Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Man, there's a lot of chatter about the exchange rate. Tons and tons of chatter about the exchange rate. And once again, Kim Clement is making his rounds amongst the Dinarians. I've been sent several videos, but people don't understand. When you play in a Dinar arena, you've seen these videos at least 2,000 times. Okay, so you can tell when there's a new wave of people, they get excited about what they hear. And I don't blame them, to be quite honest with you. But I had a chat with the person. They were like, no, didn't he prophesize that Trump would have two terms? I said, he did. He goes, but Trump only had one. I said, he didn't say two consecutive terms. About a year and a half or so ago, when we were first talking about the rate change, when the Dow was somewhere around 20,000, I don't know if people remember this. It was really low, not compared to where it is now. And we were going back and forth, and Kim Clement kept saying, don't look towards, the stock market, because the Dow would be at something about when the Dow hits 20,000. Well, we went way past that, and people are like, yeah, remember when Kim Clement, his prophecies aren't good because he says something about the Dow being at 20,000. I said, yeah, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We got a market crash coming from hell. The biggest market crash the world has ever seen. So don't think that the Dow won't drop back down to 20,000 again. It will. Just like you guys thinking that Trump's supposed to have two consecutive terms. I love how people just automatically put aside people that claim to be prophets, saying they're not prophets. The Lord says, be wary of false prophets. But God didn't say there was no prophets. He said, be careful of false prophets. I love talking to people about these types of things, but I try not to get into it too much because each person has their own different understanding. Not that I want to go, again, down the whole religious side of this, but I see that people are bringing up Kim Clement again. And I go, you guys got to remember, Kim Clement had a ton of prophecies. And one of them was that there would be a fight. That the U.S. and Russia and Ukraine would go to war, and that the U.S. is prompting it. We know that's happening now. Even Ukraine's going, Russia's not messing with us. And the United States says, yes, they are. They are. Really, they are. They're like, no, they're not. And Biden are like, yes, they are, because they want to go after Russia. So all this hoopla we hear about how Russia helped Trump, it's all BS. Look, they've been looking for an excuse to go after these guys ever since they kicked the Rothschilds out of there. So that's not anything new. That's what they do to countries who dare think about getting rid of the central banks. But anyways, let's think about this here for just a moment, because there is a lot of talk regarding the exchange rate. Whether you believe in Kim Clement or not, it doesn't matter. The point is, there are some interesting things coming up that we're starting to notice that once again has brought Kim Clement right back into the limelight. But before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button, because it does help people like me get past the YouTube algorithm that blocks us from non-subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, please do, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, and you should, give a consideration to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. There are a lot of things happening around the world all at once. And it is interesting, a lot of things that Kim Clement said. So I don't like to get in that tussle back and forth. To me, it just depends on your own beliefs, is what it really comes down to. You can either believe the guy or not. I tend to believe he's the real deal Holyfield. And when you guys bring up, oh, remember he said the dinar would change when it's around 20,000. Or there are Dow. I was like, yeah, so what? That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We're already seeing the Dow fall. Once they stop artificially pumping up our stock markets with quantitative easing and they start raising interest rates, you're going to see all hell break loose. It's going to crash. So will it get down to 20,000? Will it get that low again? What are we talking about? Almost a what? Talk about a 50% drop in the stock market in order for it to get down there. Close to 50%. So the dinar. Yes, we know Kim Clement talked about it. Said it would liberate the world. Isn't that what he said? He says, don't go out and get the dinar. He's talking to those who are holding the dinar. Remember that? The speech Kim Clement gave? He said, I'm not encouraging you guys to go out and buy the dinar. I'm talking about those who are already holding the dinar, which I thought was interesting. He said, those people have been suffering for far too long, and God will liberate the people, not just in Iraq. He said he would liberate those in Iran, Iraq, Libya, and Palestine. You could see there's already all kinds of things happening over there. Here we go. And I mean, over the last 2 days, it has been nonstop news about the Iraqi dinar exchange rate. I know a lot of you guys are looking for an RI or an RV. I could tell you what's actually being spoken about over there. So right now it's 1,450 dinars for every dollar. What they were talking about doing in the white papers, come to find out, was they wanted to bring it to 1,200 dinars for every dollar, which is an improvement from where it is, but still worse than where we were, which was in the beginning, most of us got the dinar when you could get 1,190 or 1,180 dinars for every dollar. See, you want that to shrink, the number of dinars for every dollar. So the white papers are suggesting 1,200 dinars for every dollar for the next few years. That's what the white papers say. The talk at the moment is they want to change it to 1,050 dinars. From where we are right now, that's a 27.5% increase in value. Now, it's not that big, huge jump you was thinking about, but it's still something at the moment, and people shouldn't complain about that because for those of you that hold on to millions of them, that's a nice little bump. 27.5% increase in value is not too shabby. Not exactly what you wanted, but still going in the right direction. It was my thought that it would go up in increments. I still feel that way. But if we're listening to Kim Clement and you're going to believe in what this guy is saying, it's not going to go that way. There will be an RV. There will be an RI. How much? It did not say. All it said is that the money would free the people. Speaking of, let's get into people wanting to free the people. What we're finding out is the coordination framework is really pressuring for a rate change. They're really kissing butt to the poor people. Why is that, you suppose? Well, these are the same people who put the poor people in the poor position by stealing from the people, embezzling, smuggling money out. Very corrupt. Maliki and his people. This is why Sauter's not going to include him in the government under any circumstances. He is heck bent on going after all of those individuals who have a file on them. And you saw the other day in the news, we saw that, 11,060 officials, including some deputies in the parliament, were busted for corruption. You saw the tweets from Sauter saying that this country is being held captive or prisoner by the corrupt. It's not just that country. All countries, for the most part. He said today, Saturday, the head of the State Law Coalition, Maliki, commented on the dollar crisis. Well, he had directed a request to the Central Bank of Iraq. Maliki said in a tweet posted on his official account, to alleviate the suffering of the Iraqi people, especially the poorer classes, due to devaluation of the Iraqi dinar, which led to a significant increase in the prices of goods, which we had previously warned about and boycotted the voting session in the 2021 budget, is become of him. After the noticeable rise in the price of oil in the global market, we demand the central bank to take a decision to return the exchange rate by a mechanism that does not cause new damage to citizens and economic activities. In other words, do it at a rate, do it at a level that does not damage the economy. And you think just by raising it, no matter what, is good for the economy? No, actually it's not. You have to do it in increments. So I told you, if they do it too fast, you could damage the economy. Said the Minister of Finance calls on Parliament to hold a session to give a speech on the economy and the exchange rate. Which this is interesting considering the Minister of Finance is ducking going to the Parliament. Baghdad markets are closed due to the decline in the dollar exchange rate. That's interesting. The exchange rate of the dollar fell against the Iraqi dinar. That's what you want, the dollar to go down against the dinar. That means the dinar is gaining on value against the dollar. Barzani's overseas right now, setting all kinds of records on meeting with world leaders. He's meeting with a ton of people. He's talking about all the things happening in the regions everywhere, Libya, Ukraine, everywhere else, but at the same time, talking to them about the situation they have going on with Baghdad. The central bank pledges to hold uncontrolled banks accountable and manipulate exchange rates. So it makes it sound like they're going to manipulate the exchange rate. So it said on Saturday, the first deputy, Zamali, called for addressing the negative resulting from the change in the exchange rate, while the governor of the central bank pledged to hold banks that violate the controls and manipulate exchange rate to account. They should have been doing it all along. Azim, the exchange rate issue has become a political issue, not an economic issue. The Azim Alliance confirmed on Saturday that the dollar exchange rate file has become a political issue, not an economical issue, as it is dealt with in line with the political process and its interests. In an interview with the news, Balawi said the exchange rates are currently used politically, not economically, and that the issue is not economic, but rather it seeks a victory in front of the poor people and to shade them after they have become hostage to the ruling political issues. Citizens' lives have become politicized through the imposition of taxes, high prices of oil products, foodstuff, and tariff taxes, and that the outputs during the current stage may be the defining boundary between the previous and current stages. Politicians of the revolution of the hungry, if they are not helped. Now, the white papers were put together to help get Iraq back on track and strengthen their economy. We know December 2020, they were forced to devalue the dinar. If they did not, they were looking at filing bankruptcy, and they would not be able to pay their employees. So it was necessary at the time, but they did not predict oil prices would be where they are. Last year, they had oil in the budget at around, what was it, $40 or $45 a barrel. It ended up being closer to $75. This year it's at 50 or 55. It's actually at $95. So there's a lot of surplus money, but you got to make sure to do something right with it, or all this is for naught. Again, more articles on the exchange rate. Parliament's meeting on the exchange rate results in the formation of a parliamentary committee to audit the central bank's work mechanism. Look at these articles. They're long and crazy. So the Iraq Parliament formed on Saturday a parliamentary committee specialized in financial and economic file and supervising the work of the central bank against the background of the Sadr's movement. Sadr tweeted regarding the devaluation of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar. So the governor of the central bank held a meeting in the presence of the parliamentary blocs to find out the bank's work mechanism as well as the solutions to reduce the dollar's exchange rate. It was agreed to form a parliamentary committee headed by the governor, al-Zamali, and with membership of deputies specialized in financial and economic file, to be nominated by their blocs to exercise their duties in reviewing financial policies and the central bank's work mechanism in general and auditing files related to the bank's work. See, this is nice. They're actually auditing their own central bank. We need to do that here in the United States. So although the governor of the central bank was there, they also summoned the minister of finance, which was Alawi, and he declined to go. You can see right here it said, Parliament will question the minister of finance for not attending the meeting, adding that the fiscal and monetary policies in Iraq suffer from defect and damage, and there are risks it faces. So we decided to hold this meeting. We are surprised that the Minister of Finance did not attend the meeting, noting that some leaders contacted us in order to wait on the issue of the Minister of Finance. If we do not exercise our oversight role, Parliament cannot exercise the oversight role and host any minister anymore. So they're saying he's going to get in there one way or another. Even if he resigns from his position, they're going to go in there. They want him to answer questions. And they're even talking about making sure he can't fly away. So they're denying his visa to travel. Sadr's on a mission to find out who's behind any criminality. There was an issue you can see right here. He also mentioned that the Minister of Finance has sent its financial accounts so far and has not taken any measures to collect debts with communication companies, smuggled money, or aliens. They got aliens there? Says on Thursday, the leader of the Soros movement sent 6 proposals regarding the exchange rate of the dollar against the Iraqi dinar, including summoning the Minister of Finance, Alawi, and the governor of the central bank immediately. Well, we know the governor got there, but not the minister so far. Sauder's proposal included strongly stopping currency smuggling, looking into the matter of some banks, such as, and we know the ones they mentioned before, some of the people in control of the currency and other private banks are also people that are in the political parties, which is not good. So what are some of the legal ways to lower the dollar price? So here's the thing. The Iraqi government cannot lower the rate. It has to be done by the governor of the bank, but they certainly are putting a lot of pressure on him. So what happens is they can come up with an agreement based on the articles. It's a suggested rate by the governor of the Iraqi bank. He makes a recommendation. He either goes down with the current rate or he makes a recommendation, then it gets voted on. So right here it says 25 deputies can, according to Article 61, 7th/B of the Constitution, raise a general topic for discussion, clarification, and host the competent minister. And the Article 58 of the Constitution authorizes the holding of the extraordinary session with the approval of 50 deputies. And this is not an interrogation, but rather an agreed question of the Constitution and the rules of procedure of Parliament. So you can see right here it says economic security is one of the first priorities, government of the care of the day-to-day affairs. And this security is an exception to the concept of conducting business or daily affairs, noting that according to this, the governor of the central bank may propose to change the dollar exchange rate and present it to Parliament until it gives him legitimacy. Then if the vote receives an absolute majority, which is 50% plus 1, the change will be approved. As the justifications for this are the impact of the rise of the exchange rate on the poor and the prevalence of crime, suicide, and heinous crimes. It says right here, the rise of the exchange rate also violates Article 30 and 31 of the Constitution, which obligates the government to provide a free and decent life. After the clarification, this proposal is included to go down the exchange rate in the next budget law, which is presented by the elected government according to the exchange rate change, and this becomes a binding law. This is why the budget for 2022 has not been approved. We have to wait for the new government to get in there. So here's what I'm talking about. It says on December 19, 2020, the Central Bank of Iraq decided to raise the price of selling the dollar to the banks and exchange companies to 1,460 dinars from 1,182 dinars. But oil jumped today more than 90% per barrel. Yeah, it has. So here we go down a little further. It says the government had decided on December 2020 to take a series of austerity measures that had adopted to address its financial crisis to bridge the deficit in its budget and in implementation of the terms of the white papers brought by the Prime Minister Al-Kadhimi, including the devaluation of the local currency by 1,450 dinars, the one after its stability for years at the threshold of 1,200 dinars. See, so as the numbers go down, that's the direction we want it to go into. So they're talking about bringing it down to 1,200 dinars and leaving it there for years. This is going to be interesting. Because I think if anything, Saudi wants to go back to where it was before, which would be here at 1,182. So like I said, we could sit here and try to guess all day long what the rate's going to be. We have no idea. I still think it's going to go in increments. Like I said, there is talk of it going down to 1,050 dinars. That'd be nice. From where it is right now, that'd be nice. That's a start. I think they can make that jump without it affecting too much of the economy in a negative way. But like I said, there are tons and tons of articles in here about the exchange rate. They want accountability. They want to know what's going on. They want to know why it is that oil prices have been shooting up, but the dinar rates still stay the same. And the purpose of changing the rate in the first place was to make sure that Iraq didn't have a major financial crisis and couldn't pay its employees. Now that they're out of that woods, I was expecting them to raise the rate by the end of last year, but nothing changed. Well, we know the budget hasn't been voted on yet, so who knows? Maybe they will make a change to the rate in there. As you can see, currently the Dow is at 34,079. March of 2020, it did get below 20,000 then. There was no change in the value. So when I tell people it could drop down there from where it is, people were saying, no, it can't. That's a huge drop. Well, it dropped from almost 30 down below 20, which is like, 33% or 1/3 of the value. It's at 34,000. It has been coming down slowly. On January 22nd, it was at 36. It's coming down at such a pace that people aren't really noticing. So right there on January the 4th, it reached 36,000, which was its highest level. And since then, it's come down from 36,799 down to 34,079. So is it possible that we'll see that again? Will we see the Dow drop down here? Well, if the crash comes like people are anticipating, it's very possible. So is this what Kim Clement was talking about? Everybody's like, oh, the prophecy didn't happen because it not only passed it up, it came back down again and passed it up a second time. Okay, I hear you. I'm not saying it's going to come true. I'm just saying don't count it out. It's very possible we go all the way down to 20,000. And then what happens to our dollar? It loses major value. That's going to cause other currencies to go up. That should cause other currencies to go up. If I was in other countries, I probably wouldn't hold so many US dollars in my reserves because once the US economy crashes, so does the overall value of their foreign reserves if they have too many US dollars in there. Because if the US dollar goes down in value, so does the other currencies. Anyways, you guys, that's it for now. Who knows? We know there's a lot of chat going on. We're monitoring it. We're paying attention. I still think it's just going to go up in increments. So there's a lot of meetings going on. Parliament is meeting. We're still waiting to form the new government. It's kind of hard to get anything taken care of when there's so many delays in there without the new government in there. But there definitely is a lot of talk about a rate change. So hang tight, you guys. There's definitely something that's going to happen in 2022. Will it be an RI or an RV? It's very possible. I'm not saying it won't happen. In my opinion, it's going to happen in increments. That's just my opinion. But can an RI or an RV happen? Yeah, that's very possible. So let's keep an eye on it and see what happens. Anyways, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so. Because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I catch you later. I'm out.